everyone, it's Lucy from KBeautyHobbit.com. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. I do a lot of content about Korean beauty, makeup, and skincare, but I also do quite a few different nail tutorials. And if you like this kind of video, please check out my nails playlist. I have everything there, different brands, some comparisons, ratings, etc. Even some videos about how to remove these in the most gentle way. Today we'll be trying a new to me brand called Touch in Soul. I bought this with my own money from YesStyle. Feel free to use my affiliate reward code KBeautyHobbit when you shop there for anything, including nails. I'll put all links for everything I'm using in the description box. This is not a sponsored video. I've never used this brand before. I was just curious about it, so let's try it together. These are semi-cured nail strips, meaning they will need a lamp cure to finish hardening them. So they start semi-cured and soft. We get 2 strips of different yellows. One is very pale, a bit darker, and then a strip of these accent gingham design. The reason these and a lot of semi-cured gel nails come in a black dark box like that is because exposure to UV will destroy them. It will harden them all the way. You will not be able to use them. These are all connected. Before we can even think about applying these, we have to prep the nails, and prep is the most important part of the entire process. And while the brand does give us a couple little tools here, a nail file and a little orange stick, I prefer to use my own. These are very inexpensive, small investment, and especially if you're going to be doing your nails all the time, I definitely recommend picking these up on Amazon or wherever you shop. I always start by pushing back the cuticle with a metal cuticle pusher like this one. And even if you can't see the cuticle, I encourage you to still do this without pushing too hard. You don't want to damage or dent anything, but there is such a thing as invisible cuticle, where sometimes you start pushing down. It looks like just a nail, but when you do gently push down, it moves. And if you have any skin left there, if you have anything covering your nail bed, when you put the sticker on, it will not stick there, and it will lift and snag your hair. And sometimes people think the nail stickers are crappy, and occasionally that's true. There are some pretty crappy brands, but a lot of the times it's really just a matter of poor prep and maybe an inexperienced user, which you can definitely get better, but it's always better for financial reasons to try and do the best job you can, because these things are not free. So I don't like wasting money, so I try to do as good of a job as possible with prep, and then hopefully they last for 2 weeks, sometimes even longer. If you wanted to trim your nails, you can. I'm going to leave mine as is. I might trim or file them a little bit more after or during the application, but at this point I'm going to leave them alone. It's interesting that the brand did not give us a prep pad. A lot of the times brands provide that, but I rarely use the provided ones. I prefer these just rubbing alcohol ones. I get them in bulk at Costco, because a lot of the times the ones that brands provide are kind of dry. So I am going over each nail and simply degreasing it, because I did wash my hands, I did dry my hands, I did avoid lotions right before this, but still, obviously I've touched my fingernails while pushing cuticles back, so this step just ensures that there's no residual grease or oil or anything like that on the nail. This here is perforated. I'm going to take that off to make choosing the size a bit easier. I typically start with pinkies, but I realized that literally every one of my tutorials starts with a pinky, so let's start with a different nail this time. And you can see these are a bit trapeze shaped, meaning they're a bit more narrow on one end and then kind of widens, and then this end is a little bit wider. So I think for my nail shape it would make more sense to put this part at the cuticle, because my nails are also trapeze shaped. So I'm going to try and find the one that fits the best. You definitely want to cover a good majority of the nail without going over the skin. And if in doubt, it's better to go slightly too small than slightly too large, because you don't want overlapping on the skin, because again, that's not going to stick. I do feel like these are domed, meaning they're thinner around the edges and a bit thicker toward the middle. That allows them to look a bit more like the actual gel, because if you went to a salon to get gel, they would dome it. I'm lining the sticker up to the cuticle line. I want it as close to the cuticle as possible without going over. And I always gently drop it before I smush it down, because if you gently drop it and it's crooked, you can still kind of move it around. You can see, you can tilt it a bit, and just make sure that your placement is correct. And then I have another optional tool it's still very much worth the investment. I've had this for years. This is a rubber-tipped cuticle pusher. So now I'm going to gently push it down. You can start with your finger, just kind of do a little bit rough smush, but then take your cuticle pusher and go over the sticker and pay special attention to the edge, because each nail sticker has potential pain points, potential points where something could go wrong. Maybe not the first day of wear, maybe the second or third day, but to me, it's not a successful manicure unless these last at least 10 days, but much preferably 14. Spending a few more minutes now can really save you a lot of hassle and a lot of annoyance in the future, because your stuff will not be lifting and snagging, etc. And you don't want to push too hard because these are still soft. I will try to show you here, but if you push too hard, you will dent them. So watch this tip. Do you see this? When I push really hard with my nail, the sticker dents and then the dent stays. So be firm but careful. Next, we need to trim it. You can use clippers if you want. I prefer manicure scissors because I am just used to that. So you can shape the nail at this point. If you want it to be a little bit more straight, you can cut a bit more straight, or you can have it a little bit more rounded. Now, if you do want more straight nails, you can still start out with a bit of rounded one, and then after curing, we will file it and you can shape it a little bit more. I don't like cutting too much at this stage right now because the sticker is soft. It's just not super precise. It's easier for me just to take off the bulk of that extra and then kind of do the finagling, the finessing with a nail file. Let's do one more together and then I will finish the rest off camera and we'll move on to the next steps. I think this one will probably fit the middle finger best. Sometimes with some designs, it really does matter which side you put to the cuticle because of the design. But in this case, I think it doesn't matter, and I'm just going to go with whichever side that fits the shape of my nail the best. Once again, getting as close to the cuticle as possible without overlapping. Just gently let it go, smush it down, starting in the middle, and then as we get to the edges here, I pick up my tool because I want to make sure that I'm really getting this sticker to lie down and adhere to the nail without overlapping the skin over here. So I'm pushing the skin a little bit away when I press this down. Okay, and then do the same here. Okay, just kind of go like that. If you are new to this or you're just having an off day and something is going wrong here and you're having a buckle, a bubble, something you just cannot fix, I encourage you to just take it off gently and redo it. Just take a different sticker. There are usually plenty in each set for a couple of mistakes at least, because don't go through the whole process and then have a less than ideal manicure because of one mistake. At least that's what I do. My perfectionist could never let a bubble go or a buckle go. Okay, same thing here. Just going to cut it. Oh, I'm cutting into the nail. That's okay. Can trim a bit of the nail, but it is harder to cut the sticker with the nail together. It's harder to be precise. And sometimes if you tilt your scissors too much, as you can maybe see here, you can cut too much of the sticker, but the nail is sticking out. Do you see that? Right there. Right there. You can see my nail. It's less noticeable because the color is light. I'm going to leave it how it is, and then I'm going to fix that with a nail file after I cure. Next step is curing. The brand says to cure it for 60 seconds. I would say that really depends on your lamp. When they're done curing, they should be completely hard to the touch. You should not be able to dent them by pressing fingernail in. And you can see that little dent I just made. That will straighten itself out, but definitely don't push on these too hard. But for illustrative purposes, that's not cured at all. And if I could still do something like this after I ran it for 60 seconds, then it's still not cured and I need to cure it more. So it will really depend on your lamp, how powerful it is, etc. But 60 seconds typically for me is enough with my lamp. I finished both hands as far as applying the stickers, then I cured them for 60 seconds under my light. Actually, I did 2 rounds of 60 seconds. I just really wanted to make sure that these are cured. But again, it just depends on your lamp. Something weird happened with this finger. I don't understand what is causing this, but it was completely fine when I went to cure it, and now, see this? It's like buckling, but that only happened after I cured it, and I've never seen a nail brand do that. The rest of them seem fine, except for this one did the same thing too. It has this tiny little buckle right here, and I hate that. I'm not going to redo them just because I don't know how this brand wears in general, so if it's only going to last me a few days, even with the best finger, I don't really want to spend the time redoing these two nails. But if this was a Hora or Dashing Diva or Nail Log or some other brand that I've used a lot of, then I would probably redo these two fingers. I'm going to see if I can hide that here with a top coat, but the next step actually would be to file these. I filed both hands. I left these two fingers to show you. So you have a couple options for filing. You can use the provided file. I prefer something with more grit. I have this one. And if you are happy with the nail shape and length, all you're going to do is just take this file and go in one direction from one side to the other and simply clean up the shape. Just make sure that there are no little snags from where you trimmed it with scissors or clippers. I'll say be careful filing, because if your file is like mine where it has grit on both ends, you don't want to damage the other nails like this one by filing too aggressively, and then your hand slips and you file the shine off of this one. So this is one option. If you don't want to change the nail shape or length, just file in one direction. The reason we do in one direction is so we don't fray anything, the nail or the sticker. Now, if you want to go ahead and actually correct the shape, then you're going to use a bit more force, and I usually go, so I'm going to make this a little bit more square, and I'm going to just go at an angle like this and file off that round part. See how it already got more straight? And you can do that. You will definitely need a more coarse, robust file for that than what most nail stickers provide in their kits. Just clean up the little edges here, make it kind of a squabble. If you want, you can stop here. I never stop here because I like my manicures to last as long as possible. And in order to do that, I prefer to do a top coat. Again, see this part right here? It's not looking like it's flush against the nail, and I know I applied it pretty well and smushed it down with my rubber tip pusher. So I'm not sure how well these are going to last. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be at least a week, probably 2 weeks from now until I actually post this video. So I will put a comment about how these lasted, but I also put kind of progress things in my stories on Instagram at KBeautyHobbit, so you can follow me there and see. Anyway, let's hope for the best. I'm going to use a top coat now. This is an absolutely optional step. It's not optional for me because I really like how it all looks with the top coat. This one was provided to me for free. I will put a link in the description box. It's a one-step no-wipe top coat, meaning once you're done curing it, you don't need to wipe off the tacky residue with an alcohol wipe because it won't feel tacky. Okay, the first thing always with a top coat is cap the free edge, which is the edge of your nail, and you want to make sure that you are covering the nail and the sticker, but don't go on the skin. And if your gel gets on the skin, please just take either the provided little orange stick or something else and wipe it off before you cure. There are a couple of reasons to do that. Reason number one, you don't want a gel allergy. You don't want gel on your bare skin. And reason number two, if you cure your gel and part of it is on the nail and part of it is on the skin, then it all becomes this one solid thing. The piece that's on the skin is going to start lifting, maybe not today, but it will be in a couple of days, and then it can just break off and chip and take the parts that are on your nail with it, and then your manicure won't look as good as it could. So I do this with all the nails. I do one hand at a time, so starting with my left here, but I'll do all of that, all of the fingers, cure, and then I'll do all of the other hand and cure, and then I'll be done. And you don't have to be super duper precise here. It doesn't have to be really perfect. The key parts is the free edge. That's what really prolongs the wear of the nails, because the tips is another one of those little high-risk areas where lifting can happen. But then also, you just don't want to go over the skin. So that's not as hard, not as skill demanding as, let's say, painting your nails with like a deep red gel color. You don't have to be as precise, but be a little precise. You don't want this all over your fingers. Thinner layers are better than thicker ones. If you have really thick layers and you try to cure them, sometimes they will sort of buckle, ripple, and just not cure properly. You don't want that. I am done. I finished curing the top coat. As you can see, these look a lot shinier now. And then the nice part about capping the tip is you no longer have such a huge contrast between the nail and the sticker. It's all just kind of one unit now. Yes, you can still see, of course, there's a color difference, but there's not such a big strip of the sticker on top of the nail. I'm not loving this part. It looks like somebody took a bite out of it. I really don't understand what happened here. As I was putting the top coat on this hand, I noticed there's a tiny, barely visible buckle right here on the thumb that didn't exist when I started curing, so I'm really not sure what is happening with these. I will keep you posted. I did like the overall application experience. They're nice and pliable. They're not too thin. They don't highlight all the ridges that I have on this thumb, for example. This nail of mine is super duper ridged, but I don't like buffing that out because ridges are the weaker part of the nail, so if you keep buffing them out, you make that part even thinner, and then as the nail grows out, that's exactly where it could split potentially, and I don't want that. Even though my nails are not very long at all, I still don't want them splitting. This is what I have left. I have, let's see, what is this? 6 of the accent nails, and then all of these. So potentially plenty to do another manicure. However, I used up a lot of the sizing that I would need. So if I wanted to do another manicure, this one here fits my thumb perfectly. The other ones are too big. I would have to trim them. And then I would lose that domed effect, because by trimming these and making them more narrow, I would cut off the part where it thins out toward the edge. And I'm not really sure that I'd be putting these on. Again, I could have put affiliate links and discount codes all over this video and all over the description, which I'll still put some in the description, okay, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with affiliate income, nothing wrong with monetizing your videos, but honesty is really important. So I could have very easily just showed it to you like this and said, look how pretty this is. Isn't this perfect? This is going to last me 2 weeks, and I could take pictures today and tomorrow and then post them for 2 weeks, spacing them out, pretending like they're taken weeks apart or days apart. I just don't want to do that. Okay, so just take things online with a grain of salt, especially when people are selling you stuff. You can fake anything, you can Photoshop anything, you can strategically position your hands in different ways, etc., etc. You can hide the little imperfections, you don't have to show it. Gosh, you could do a top coat and not even tell the viewers that you did it, and just say, look, I cured and filed my nails, and look how wonderful they look. Isn't it just so beautiful? Anyway, I guess I'm feeling kind of grumpy today. Yeah, unfortunately, all of these just popped off the same night with very little tugging, starting with a thumb, so I don't think this brand is for me. Something you have to look forward to is a ranking of stickers from worst to best. I have one already, but I haven't updated it in a while, and I've tried lots of different brands since then, and I've tried the other brands that were in the ranking more than at the time of that filming. So I will film an updated nail ranking for you. It will be in the next few weeks. Sometimes I haven't filmed it yet, but I've already planned it out. I just have to see how these wear because I wanted to include them in the ranking, but I don't know yet how they are. So with that in mind, stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't, check out my nails playlist, check out all my other videos. You can find me on Instagram at KBeautyHobbit, my blog, KBeautyHobbit.com, and in my private Facebook group, Creating Beauty Fanatics. I am so happy you joined me today. Thank you so much. Hope to see you in my next video. And until then, please remember to always listen to your skin. Thank you so much. Bye.